Good morning, everyone. This is David Blair, the Crosshairs Trader. Welcome to my CHT notes from the front lines. And our front lines continue to broadcast to us that the market is in need of a rest. And that's exactly what we've been wanting and anticipating when we look at the futures and the major indices. So let's take a look at those and then a few individual stocks, and we'll see why our stocks aren't doing too much, because they're waiting on the market to help them continue to move. Let's take a look at the S&P futures. As always, my daily and weekly chart. Take a look at the daily. Again, nothing's changed. Same thing we've been talking about for about 2 weeks now. Much needed rest right here. Major moving average from our weekly chart is acting as some resistance, not necessarily a resistance to roll over, not necessarily a resistance to move back up. Right now, we're just going sideways, and it will tell us soon enough which way we're going to go. We will go one way or the other. The longer we go sideways, the bigger the move will be once we get out of the sideways range. So that's the futures on the S&P. Take a look at the NASDAQ. Same thing, the NASDAQ had broken out on the weekly. And when we look at the daily, you can see that breakout area from the highs in the spring. But we really need some rest in here. We had a little bit of a rest here, continued to go up. We really need to see that again for us to have confidence in adding new positions, or at least full positions. Right now, us crosshairs traders discuss either trade very lightly or not at all, because we just don't want to give away our gains that we've been able to accumulate on this last move up. We don't want to give them away just because we think we've got a trade in a sideways choppy market. We patiently wait with our focus and our discipline for the next opportunities to come. If we do have existing positions, we have tight stops, waiting to possibly add to those positions, get out of them if the market decides it's not going to continue to run up. Instead, it's going to reverse. So we're watching very closely. But we have a lot of stocks. I mentioned some in the mornings in these videos. Those are just a few. We go through a couple of dozen in our webinars, in our crosshairs training, so that we'll be prepared and ready for the next move and be able to take the highest probability trades and do something with them, hopefully. But let's take a look at a few. UHS. Take a look at the daily chart. You can see that UHS is starting to set up what looks like a possibly a nice trending stock. Got some resistance way up here, which we're okay with at this point. But again, watching UHS as the moving averages are lining up, everything's lined up on the weekly. We're possibly breaking out here. We just need to see what the general market's going to do. Take a look at the weekly. We had a crosshair on the weekly back here at the beginning of the year. Took us up to the highs of the year. It's on the weekly chart. Came back down, so a higher low. And now it looks like it's trying to give us this move again. We'll just have to watch for the general market to give us a signal that we could enter. ADI, again on the weekly. Let's start with the weekly chart on ADI. We've had some consolidation in here, a couple of crosshairs one way or the other. Now it's broken out of that consolidation on the weekly, and you can see that on the daily chart. We actually have a crosshair that has fired right here on this breakout. So now we're going to be watching ADI Be mindful of earnings on all of these companies that I talk about. So now we've got a support level on ADI, analog devices. Gap down, held steady in here, and now has given us a crosshair up. We just simply need to see if the markets will allow it to continue to rise. Again, the reason I look at the general market and what's going on is because 9 out of 10 of your stocks are going to move with the general market, or if they do have a really good move, it's going to come on the heels of what the general market is doing. So that's why we watch that. Okay. AAPL, Apple, very popular stock, of course. Apple is setting up a very nice pattern, trending pattern. Exactly what we like to see. Nice trend up, pull back, trend up, and pull back down to the 300 level. We had talked about from here that it would go up to the 300 level. It surpassed that on earnings. Right before earnings came back down to earth a little bit, and now is consolidating, doing exactly what we want it to do for the next possible run. So we'll be watching Apple. I'm sure I'm not the only one. All right, MRO, oil stock. We've been talking about some of these stocks that have been consolidating right above a breakout range, still waiting. You know, a lot of these that we watch, it's sometime 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month before the next trade in them. But in the meantime, there may be others that we are trading. But we keep these on our radar screen and we watch them. And of course, my proprietary software will give us a signal in several different ways on when there might be a trade. But this is just one we're watching. Helps us get an understanding of how stocks move. WLL, same thing. Made some money on this on the last breakout on an intraday chart. We had some activity taking place, but we're watching WLL now as it's setting up a nice pullback for the possible next move up out of this last consolidation. If we can consolidate some more in here for another week or two, and then possibly have another trade on WLL. BEXP was one we traded a while back. The nice crosshair up to a resistance level. Now we're watching it again to see if this level is going to turn green or red. Is it going to be support or resistance? But it is setting up nicely for the next possible run. One last thing. Don't forget the railroads. We talked about the railroads recently. Railroads are now consolidating at a high, which is what we like to see. Don't pay attention to my writing on here. I'm working on my book and doing some charts. But anyway, right in here we want to watch this. This is NSC. Then we look at CSX, same thing. Consolidating some after this breakout crosshair up into earnings. Consolidating, starting to set up nicely. And KSU, which some crosshairs traders traded also on the crosshair, continues to rise with a little bit of consolidating. So all of the rail stocks, I know they're boring, but at least we looked at Apple and ADI, a few of the more glamorous stocks, but our railroads are doing something too. Hey, join me anytime at my blog. Welcome to sign in, RSS feed, Twitter, email, get my updated blog post. Join me every morning as I release my CHT notes. Also will be releasing my next round of training, live training, Crosshairs University, which will launch in January with a kickoff seminar at the beginning of December. If you're interested in knowing a little bit about this premium service, please email me at david@crosshairstrader.com or look for my announcement coming up within the next week or so on my site. In the meantime, have a wonderful day, both in and outside the charts.